So I experienced my first Midwest tornado outbreak, and I'm filming this while under another tornado watch until 10 p.m. Why did I decide to move to Omaha again? So last Friday, April 27th, which is the anniversary, I'm not sure how many years, I can't do math right now. It's the anniversary of the super outbreak that essentially happened in that same time frame, the exact days. We had actually all of the tornadoes in Nebraska were EF3, and I narrowly missed 2 of them. I'm no stranger to tornadoes. I grew up in the South. North Carolina is a part of Dixie Alley, and as the years go on, more of North Carolina becomes part of Dixie Alley. But I had never experienced the type of outbreak that I experienced on Friday. And in fact, we just had warnings that I can remember, but never in North Carolina near me was there like a confirmed tornado so close. Not while I was alive anyway. So my day actually started off being in Lincoln. I was cat sitting for a friend Thursday and Friday because he was working out of town 4 hours away. And I knew on Friday there was going to be some significant weather happening. We were in an enhanced risk, which is like a 3 out of 5. And one of the main threats in that was tornadoes. That was like the higher threat along with hail and wind. Whereas this time, thankfully, it's more hail than anything, but still. And I knew that I was going to have to start thinking of a plan of what to do because I'm terrified of tornadoes since that super outbreak of 2011, but also whatever outbreak that we had the October before then, which really scared me. I was just like, I don't want to be dealing with this by myself. Okay, I was gonna go down to Lincoln early in the morning, make sure my friend's cat is fed, he's got his medication, stick around for a little bit because I wanted to take that time to film. I had to do some voice acting work, which you know me and my channel, you know him, he's screaming all the time. So I can't really do voice work with him because this one was for another company. It was for a show, like a podcast show type of deal. So it was acting. I can't include a cat. So I was trying to take advantage of all this stuff. Also take advantage of OnlyFans stuff. It didn't last as long as I would have hoped. I got some work done, but once it started to come around like 1 in the afternoon, I knew I had to start to get going because the storms were going to start between like 1:30 and 2 o'clock. And it was going to take me an hour to get home. But of course my head was like, I'm scared to be by myself. But I'm scared to leave my friend's cat here by himself. But if something happens, I'm not really gonna know what to do because at least in my building, there's more people. Also in my building, there is a basement. So I could go in here. Also, I don't want to leave my cat. Also, I was hoping my friend was gonna be home in time and then like he could help calm me down because I was gonna like freak the heck out. But I knew the better thing to do was to drive home and get my cats. And of course I felt bad leaving my friend's cat by himself, but my friend's parents live 10 minutes away from his apartment, so they can come grab him if they need to keep him safe. I'm an hour drive from Omaha when I'm in Lincoln, so who's gonna help my cats? I knew at the end of the day what I was gonna do. My brain was just going all over the place because I'm terrified. The second, okay, maybe not the exact second, but within like 15 minutes of me being home, there was a tornado warning for Lincoln, and it did not look good. I came into this studio, I turned on Max Velocity and his live stream, who is also on my iMac right now. I'm making sure I'm safe while I'm filming this. And I saw live cam feed and pictures. I was like, oh my god. And then once it hit Waverly, if I had not left when I did, there was a high chance of me coming face to face with that EF3 tornado. Again, all of the tornadoes in Nebraska were EF3. One of them, I think it was the Elkhorn one, borderlining EF4. So there was a high chance of me coming face to face while I'm driving, and who knows what the hell I would have done because I've never come face to face with a tornado. Until the Epley one came along, the one that's at the downtown airport here in Omaha. I'm home. I'm making sure I'm watching the news or I'm watching Max's live stream. I'm checking maps, I'm checking apps, I'm checking radars, and I can see that the Waverly one is going up to Elkhorn, to Waterloo, in that area, and it's huge. And the map, the warning thing, the red like triangle icon thing that's on the radar is so wide because they don't know where it's going. And there's a chance that it could go up to near Elkhorn and Waterloo, or it's gonna come through to downtown Omaha. They did not know exactly where it was gonna go. That is the widest warning triangle on the radar that I have ever seen in my life. So I went down to the basement. I got the cats and the carry, and I went down to the basement, and there was actually one girl there already. And so we hung out. We hung out for a little bit, and we were checking the apps, and a couple of other people started coming down. So there's about a total of like 8 of us for this particular storm, and we were watching the Elkhorn tornado live on cam, because the news reports, the news stations were covering it, and our jaw was just dropping because it's about a 30-minute drive from here. I've been to Waterloo for Junk Stock, which is like a handmade vintage thrifting kind of event here. It's really cool. They're still going through with that event this weekend. It's only a 30-minute drive, and just to think that a wide, extremely wide tornado is happening was really worrisome. So not only that, but looking at the map, south of Omaha had their own tornado warnings. There was 3 of them stacked on top of each other. And I'm thinking, I'm really hoping that this isn't going to be similar to the Elkhorn, Waterloo, Lincoln, Waverly tornado. But here comes Max saying, well, that's gonna happen. That's gonna pop up. It might happen. It's looking to be that way, you know? We can't make any absolutes. Weather can change at any time. But that's when I was like, okay, wow. And while that was happening, because it wasn't officially warned for our county yet, it was still too far south, people started getting up and leaving. And the girl that was there with me originally and we were thinking, they're gonna come back down. There's no way they're gonna stay up there. We're gonna probably see them again in about 15 minutes. 15 minutes go by. Some people are already popping down, and the warning shows up. When I tell you, getting the National Emergency Weather Alert when you are deaf and have hearing aids that are connected to Bluetooth, it is the most painful sound ever, because it doesn't kind of spread out the sound, you know, like if you're just a hearing person with your phone in regular settings. No, it sounds like you took what are those things called, an air horn, blowhorn, I'm not sure. It's if you stuck it into my ear. If you put a little straw into it and then stuck it in my ear and then pushed down on it, that's what it sounds like. And I was ready to take my hearing aids and throw them across the basement because it hurt so bad. And that's when I knew, oh, that's lovely. There's a possibility of happening. And I'll tell you this, I was a lot more calm than I thought I was going to be, because one, being in that basement helped. I've never lived in an area with a basement. So that was nice to have. I was worried about what the hell was going to happen with my car, because I'm still paying a lot of money on it, and I'm just like, what happens if your car is totaled during a thunderstorm, during a tornado? Like, there were all these things I was thinking about when I should have just been thinking about, just live, just be alive after this is over. Like, deal with this first. You can deal with that later. And then eventually more people started coming. There came a point where I kind of risked it. I risked going back upstairs to, 1, go to the bathroom, and 2, get my charger, because my phone was, you know, it was at 50% battery. This is gonna last. I'm already an hour in, so I'm watching like all these videos, this live stream, and the battery's gonna go down. I made it. Came back down to more people, and since the basement is where all the maintenance stuff is, there were power outlets, so I charged my phone. There was one guy, I don't know if he's gonna see this video, because now we follow each other on Instagram now. But there was one guy who was also watching it, and we were all talking about it. I don't condone this, but we kind of we went far away to the other end of the basement and checked outside real quick. And that was the Epley tornado that was starting. Like, it was like the tail end was starting to come down. It wanted to come down, but it wasn't coming down yet. It did not touch down until Epley. And I guess it was already an EF3 the moment it hit Epley. It's only 10 minutes up the road. So when I found out when they announced EF3, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. But yeah, like, we saw it coming down. And I was just amazed in the most terrifying way possible. But yeah, so that was a warning from, I want to say 4:30 to 5:15. once 5:15 hit, that was pretty much the last like big storm, tornadic storm that was happening. There were some other storms coming on the back end, but they were more just like regular severe thunderstorm warnings, and everybody started going back upstairs, back to their apartments. I went back up to my apartment. Actually, I went to my apartment, dropped my cats off, let them out, and then went to the laundry room to go watch the news. And I stayed there for a couple more hours because I wanted to see what was going on, because then it was going down to Minden and Harlan, Iowa. I believe those are the cities. And it was just bad. And then we were being shown the damage that was happening or had happened in Elkhorn, Blair, Waterloo, that area. I was texting my friends, some that lived in Fremont, because it's kind of around that area. I'm not exactly sure how much, but regardless, I just knew Fremont was closer to Waterloo than it was closer to here. So I'm just like, I need to make sure my friend's alive. And was talking to some of my friends downtown, and my friends in Lincoln were also like, oh my god, are you okay? Like, this is your first tornado. And I'm like, I'm alive, but it's not my first experience with tornadoes, because the South gets tornadoes. Like, are the storms the same type of experience that you would get being in the Midwest? Typically, I would say no, because yeah, the South, well, I guess it depends on where in Dixie Alley you are. So like Alabama obviously has had some things. Tennessee, North Carolina has definitely had some moments. There have been EF3s mostly like east of 77. I can remember 2011, April 16th. It was before the super outbreak happened. So that was a doozy. But I feel like my experience in the South, in North Carolina, with tornado outbreaks is nothing similar, not very similar to everything that happened on Friday, because I have never essentially narrowly missed 3 EF3s in 2 hours. Surprisingly, I was a hell of a lot more calm than I thought. I wasn't like freaking out crying, and I think part of that was definitely just because, you know, you're in a basement for one. That's a lot more protection than I ever would have gotten in any of the places in North Carolina I've lived. And, you know, just people around. Like, if something's gonna happen, you know, they're gonna be there for you if you're freaking out. Cause like I'm talking with people, and we had a nice time distracting each other, and we were watching stuff, and of course, when it would be very quiet at times, we had multiple pets, multiple cats and dogs around. Simon would start to meow. And you know how Simon is, he doesn't do those quiet meows, he does those screaming type of meows. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So people are all of a sudden like looking over, and they're like, oh, so cute. I'm just like, eventually there was a time where I had to stop, because at the beginning I would tell people, just so you know, I apologize in advance, but one of my cats here likes to scream a lot. And they're just like, no, it's fine. I mean, there are worse things to have to deal with in that time, like a tornado. But you know, it's like, I get worried about like if I'm annoying my neighbors just on a regular basis because of Simon and how active he is with meowing and screaming. So everybody being together in one small hallway, like, I'm sorry. But also, there are worse things going on right now. But yeah, seeing the damage, I was so shocked, because I thought, I was one of the people that thought it was gonna be EF4 minimum. And like I said, I think one of them was like borderline almost an EF4. I can't remember which one exactly. But when they said it was an EF3, when all of them were EF3s, I'm like, that much damage from a 3? I'm scared to find out what damage from a 4 or 5 would like. And I mean, I've seen the Joplin tornado on the news. I've seen Tuscaloosa. It's definitely something different when you know that now you live in an area where this is going to be more common than being in Dixie Alley, or at least in North Carolina. We had the Omadome here, and it also seemed like where I lived in North Carolina, it wasn't a dome, but it's like there was some section of I-40 and I-77 in the foothills that just seemed to usually miss most of the havoc. But it's a different experience altogether, and just seeing the damage. And I'm not one of those people that's gone out to like drive by and look at it, because that doesn't need to be happening, especially right now, because people are trying to clear things out. Emergency services are trying to clean things up. And yeah, I went, yep, this is what I'm gonna be here for. Because even when I visited here, when I was just visiting the 2 springs that I was here, or just 1 spring. Yeah, there were storms, but we didn't have any outbreaks while I was here, so this was definitely something. We had more storms on Saturday. It was fine. And then Sunday, I don't think really a whole lot happened on Sunday. Monday was fine. Yesterday. And now today we are under a tornado watch until 10 p.m. So that's about 6 more hours of a tornado watch. We're not expecting like big extravagant tornadoes or anything. More hail than anything. But still, it's like, cool, this is gonna be a fun time for the rest of my life, assuming I still get to live here. But yeah, I will have a link down below to some people that I like to watch. Even my main guy, my Charlotte meteorologist guy, Brad Panovich, was talking about the Omaha tornadoes, and I was like, God, this is so weird to see him talking about it. He talks about all sorts of events, but it was like, dude, remember when I told you I'm leaving Charlotte for Omaha and you were so sad? And he's like, I'm so happy you're safe. But yeah, so I'll leave his links down below. He's very active on Facebook and stuff. I'll leave a link to Max Velocity down below. There is another streamer that I found out about this weekend, Ryan Hall, y'all. He uses the automatic captions for the live streams, which are surprisingly very good, and I'm still trying to figure out how that works. That the live stream knows what he's gonna say, or the live stream captions know what he's gonna say before he's even said it. But I'm going to do a separate video on that because that's not what this is about. But the accessibility part is what I'm getting at. So if you're also deaf like me and you want a more accessible in terms of captions, Ryan Hall, y'all, I'll put him down below. But yeah, I'm lucky and happy to be safe. The cats are safe and everyone that I know is safe. You know, my thoughts go out to the people who have lost their homes and a whole lot of other stuff. I'll also put some resources down below for like donations and stuff. But yeah, stay safe tonight, even though this probably isn't gonna show up until tomorrow. It won't be uploaded until tomorrow at the earliest. But for the rest of the season, since we're getting into the peak of it, we're in this together. I have a write-up on my experience of this on Patreon if you want to go take a look at that. Free for everyone to read. It's not behind a paywall. So I'll have that link down below. If you have not yet subscribed, be sure to do so. And maybe I should actually talk about accessibility in severe weather season. So that's an idea for me to do. So subscribe if you don't want to miss out on that. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I very much appreciate it. And I will see you later.